Alright, guys, what up? What up? Okay, guys, so I'm just gonna open up the Royal LePage reports here. Okay, so we're gonna go to reports and surveys. Royal LePage, if you guys are not familiar with it, you could argue that they are the biggest real estate company in Canada. Not international, in Canada, they may be the biggest. Okay, so we're gonna go down to their Q2 release of their home price survey. For those of you that are not familiar with the Royal LePage house price survey, it comes from the Royal LePage Canadian Real Estate Market Composite, as well as their data company, sister company, RPS Real Property Solutions. And I'm just gonna go, I opened up the Q2 release here, 2019. It's basically a report of like what's going on around Canada. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to see the aggregated regions, basically the national house price composite. And from here, you can see what's been going on. And now the topic of this video is about Montreal. Okay, so let's look at Montreal and see how it's doing. So right now, I just want to show you guys how this report is laid out. We have the standard two-story over here, and it shows you the Q2 2018, Q1 2019, and Q2 2019. Okay, so it basically shows you the quarter-over-quarter change and the year-over-year change. And they do that for the detached bungalow over here, and they also do that for the standard condo. And then at the end, you will see the aggregated results. Okay, so we're gonna go over here to the left. Okay, start from Montreal. We're not going to be looking at the greater Montreal area for now. For now, let's just look at the Montreal itself. Okay, so if you look at the Montreal center, right, that's downtown. And we're going to look at the standard two-story right now. Okay, standard two-story, it went up quarter by quarter 1.4%, and then year by year it went up 10.8%. Okay, double-digit increases are quite huge, and double-digit increases is something that will prompt the policymakers to maybe review and make any changes. But keep in mind, this is only the Montreal center. Okay, now let's move on to should I do all the bungalow and condo? No, let's move on to the Montreal East, West, North, South. Okay, we're gonna compare these regions for the standard two-story. So in the Montreal East, it also picked up quite a lot, and quarter by quarter, it's so recently it's picking up a lot more than downtown itself. In the Montreal West, the standard two-story has been on the decline, and it's declining even faster recently. On the north, year by year, they have increased, but they have slowed down there. And on the south, they have increased year by year, but there recently is no increase. Okay, so, and this is the prices, right? Keep in mind, this is not, no, this is unnecessary. Okay, so let's move on to the Montreal center for the standard bungalow. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to highlight this line over here so I know which line I'm looking at. Okay, so the detached bungalow, you'll see that in Montreal center it has raised 8.3% year by year, and then over on the quarter by quarter change is 3.2%. So even on bungalows for downtown, it's still going up. All right, but then if you look at the Montreal East bungalows, they did went up year by year, but recently they are on the decline. In the Montreal West, now this is interesting because in Montreal West they were going down for a standard two-story, right? But they are going up the highest for the bungalow. Okay, so it's 12.3% on the Montreal East and 5.1% recently for the bungalows, and then you have your north and south. Is it north and south? Am I messing it up? Yeah, no, it is north and south. Okay, so north and south, they're both going up in bungalow, but Montreal West is definitely picking up a higher rate of bungalows in terms of the prices. Okay, so, and then we go over to the standard condo. Okay, so this was a bungalow, and this is this Montreal center. Okay, so the Montreal center, the standard condo price has went up by 5.5% in the previous year, up to, you know, this report, which is ended in August, I think. End of August, and then recently the price has been picking up 1.3%. Okay, Montreal East condo has picked up even higher prices than downtown, but recently downtown is a little bit faster than the Montreal East. If you look at the West, the condo prices have went down 1%, but recently they are going back up. In the Montreal North, they have went up, but Montreal North is falling down, and Montreal South condo prices have went up higher than downtown over year, and it is going up faster than downtown in the Montreal South. This is interesting because if you look at cities like Griffintown, Brossard, which is also close to the greater Montreal area called Brossard, where there's a lot of development. I'm sure this is linked to what's going on below Montreal. And then if you look at the aggregated results of not just each bungalow, standard two-story condo, if you look at the aggregated results, you'll be able to see on the right that for downtown, okay, so year by year, everything went up 8.2%, but recently it's only 1.4%. And the east, 8.3%, a little bit more than Montreal. Downtown, 8.3%, a little bit more than Montreal downtown, but recently it's been going up faster. In the west, recently everything in general has been slowing down, but we know that the bungalows have been picking up quite fast. North and south, they're just doing average, and south is just doing a little bit more better than the Montreal north. Okay, so this is interesting to look at because right now the craze is all about the Montreal condos, right? Like everyone thinks, oh, you should get a condo in downtown because they're picking up like crazy. Well, that's true, and I kind of understand why people are saying that, but you have to look at the data for yourself and be more aware of what's really going on. I mean, is the condo picking up that quick? I am on the right line, right? I'm just gonna scroll to the left and make sure I'm still on Montreal Center. Yeah, it is Montreal Center. Yeah, so you have to look at the condos and see for yourself, well, how much did the price actually rise? Well, the average condo in Montreal downtown went up 5.5%. And this is, recently it's only went up 1.3%. And the east, it went up 6.4%, and this has been going up 0.9% on the Montreal East. Okay, so what's the point of seeing all these numbers? Well, as a potential real estate investor, I think it's a good idea to be well informed of what's really going on. We can always hear about the news from our real estate agents. So, is it that hot? Well, it is still going up. It is still going up. It's still strong. However, maybe looking at the numbers yourself will give you a better idea of what's really happening instead of hearing words like hot. It's on fire. You know, instead of having abstract words, you can see for yourself the data. Okay, guys, there's one more thing I want to show you. That is the RBC economic reports. So if you go Google RBC economic reports, you'll see this page, and we can go on the latest reports. RBC, they put out reports based on the different economies within Canada, okay? And one of the things that they put out every month is the monthly housing market update. So we're gonna look at the one on August 15th, and well, they put it out on every 15th of the month. So we're going to be seeing the, expecting the September one soon. Let's go take a look over here. And I want to point out a couple of things that I thought was interesting. Okay, so Montreal. In the beginning, it says this. Okay, so Montreal, along with Ottawa, is getting quite hot. Okay, and any further acceleration could become an issue if it sets off unwanted speculative dynamics. It's a little bit vague, but let's continue on to the some other comment down the report. Okay, so Ottawa and Montreal has been picking up quite a bit. Right, it says Montreal and Ottawa will be paid attention to. Their home price index was rising the fastest in Canada. Montreal 7.2% in July. Okay, and the specter of prices escalating at double-digit rates would not sit well with policymakers. Now, if you don't know what this means, it basically means that if Montreal's housing price index goes up too high, then that may prompt the government to do something about it. I mean, this isn't the first time that this is not new to Canada. We know what happened in Vancouver. We know what happened in Toronto. If you go to the right, I mean, you can look at the graph and like it's not news, right? We already know about this, guys. Right now, I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen in Montreal. It's just that we need to be aware as potential real estate investors of what could happen. You know, I'm not speculating on anything. It's just that you guys need to be aware of where we are at right now. Montreal is going up quite high, and it has exceeded Royal LePage expectations. Royal LePage. Now I'm gonna open up the Royal LePage reports again. I think it was over here actually. Okay, so Royal LePage report. And if we search for Montreal, we'll be able to see something like this. Here we go. Okay, so if you guys read these couple of paragraphs and maybe some other ones, if you're interested, you guys can see that it exceeded their quarter-over-quarter expectations. Okay, so even the experts and analysts undermined how fast it would grow. Okay, now this could be good news, right? Because the home prices are increasing, and if you already invested, then that's really good news. One thing that does bother me though, that even the experts at RBC or Royal LePage don't really seem to fully understand why it is increasing so much. Like their forecasts were off a little bit, both the RBC and Royal LePage. I mean, it happens all the time, but it's something to keep in mind, guys. Montreal has been exceeding expectations, and if it goes too fast, then it might prompt the government to do something about it. I'm not saying it well. I'm not saying that that is highly likely, but it's just something to keep in mind, guys. So anyways, I hope that was good information for you guys, and happy investing.